Hi, welcome back to the vlog. This is part 2 of my Engage journey. Now, as I mentioned before, if you saw the first vlog, I have done this before. I have built an Engage track, not quite on this scale, but a reasonable size one, and with scenery and done lots of track laying, used FlexiTrack. Now, this time I've used code 80 rather than code 55. Now, I think it was a bit of a rash decision on my behalf because it was a bit cheaper, but I think it's going to be okay. But it seems to be behaving slightly differently. Maybe doesn't bend around curves quite so easily. I don't know, that might just be my imagination. In my last layout, I used XPS foam, blue stuff. I think it's about 10mm thick, and it did a good job of deadening all the sound. I glued it to the base and then just painted the XPS in whatever colour I wanted, mainly green, pretty much. So it was quiet. However, so this time I haven't used it, and I've put the baseboards down and done a few test runs, and there's quite a racket straight on plasterboard. Now I like a bit of noise because I like the train to make noise going over the tracks, because I think it sounds a bit more authentic, but it was too much. So I got this Woodland Scenic Trackbed. Comes in strips, and I think you can get it in a roll as well, and maybe even sheets, I'm not sure. If it comes in sheets, I probably should have got that. However, we live and learn. Now this is good on a straight. I've tested it just under track, run the train over it, deadens the sound nicely. You still get the clickety clack as it goes over the joins, which is what I want, but you don't get a constant rumble, which is good. Now, bit of a dilemma and a bit of a nightmare, all rolled into one. I've just thought I'd just start laying some track. Now, I've been in and out of the cabin, which is what I call it, probably 3 or 4 times today. I'm in an hour in, leaning over, doing some track and not doing it. With these, if you use these on a corner, they don't really take kindly to going around corners. Now there is a slit down the middle which I think which I've run a knife through, not cut through, and supposedly that makes it easier to go around a corner. Now I'm not entirely sure. However, I think it means I'm going to have to glue it down. So I'm in 2 minds whether to ditch the track bed and just go for the XPS foam and stick that down and just pin the track into that, because it's a whole lot easier than pinning track into plywood, and it worked very well last time. So I think what I might do is glue this down. I've got some copy decks which I'll use. Glue this down round the corner here. I'll show you. Now hopefully you can see this. See in the corner here. So what I've done, I've laid the track out. I've got track setters to get that's probably more of a sharp bend that I really wanted, but you just got, at some point you've got to bite the bullet and do it. So round here, so my plan is to copy decks there and form this round the bend, and then put things on to hold it down, and then pin the track to this, I think. Now a couple of people recommended, by the way, thanks for watching the last vlog and commenting. Any advice, gratefully received, and comments as well. If you tell me stuff, nothing is too simple to tell me, if you know what I mean. So, and where I've done it all before, I'm not an expert and haven't done it for sort of 5 years, so a bit rusty. So a few people have mentioned track screws, which I've got. I bought track screws because I've seen a few vlogs mentioning track screws, and on Engage, for me anyway, they're a bit fiddly. Now I have my previous incarnation of model railway, and I have got a small drill. It goes so small you probably can't even see it. Sorry, I keep doing that because the camera has face detect, and if it sees my face, who can blame it? I drill in with this, and it's all a bit too fiddly. I had one drill bit, the last drill bit, I actually broke it. I was obviously leaning too snap. So I might try and avoid using any sort of pins. And I know it's the best way to do it, and I've done it before, but I think for me with plywood, the screws are proving too difficult, even using a pilot hole, because Engage sleepers are so narrow and the drill bit is so narrow that it easily breaks, and even with care, for me anyway, having stronger than I think, obviously. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bite the bullet, copy dex either the track or the bed, and then manipulate it into place, put some heavy objects on, and leave it before attaching the track. I don't know why this is causing me so much stress. It wasn't difficult first time round. I think the more you know, the less you can be sure of, if you know what I mean. So the more I know about model railwaying, the less sure I am about doing anything. If ignorance is bliss, I think. Let's give it a go. So let's just whack some copy decks down, and then I can cut it all up if it's a disaster, right? Wish me luck. Because the track bed is a bit wider than the track, so I need to just go a bit further than I mark the track out. Quite slippery, very slippery in fact. But also it's holding it quite well, which I'm pleased about. Try and get that there, that straight there. Okay, that was easier than I thought. I'm pleased the way that's gone actually. Let's get something heavy to put on it. Yes, I will definitely glue the drill to the... Now I don't actually know what I was worried about, because that went really well actually. Just going to glue that one bit down just to see how it goes. I think I'm using track setters. There's two sizes I've bought from last time round. There's 12 inch and I think 9 inch. Now 9 inch will go on the inside and 12 inch will go on the outside. Now I know from last time all of my locomotives and coaches can get round these bends. So as long as I stick to these two bends, I'm going to be fine. Right, as you'd have seen there, I think I made a complete hash of laying the first bit of track. Now, I think I said earlier that I used the XPF foam stuff on the previous layout, and the pins kind of just went in really easy, and it was easy to pin the tracks down without needing to bang them in through the sleepers. Now I have tried the screws, but I haven't got a drill bit small enough, or in fact I have a drill bit small enough, but I was a bit heavy handed and I broke it. I've forgotten how, I'm now thinking, I'm going to say I wish I'd gone 00 gauge, but I don't think the layout's big enough for a decent sized 00 gauge. So, and I think some of the turns will be too tight. The turns I'm doing there, I think they're too tight as well, but I'm kind of practicing, but also having to glue it down because pins and screws, I can't seem to work with them. What I've kind of decided to do is use the Trackbed from Woodland Scenics, carry on using it and just copy dex it down. I mean, copy dex the Trackbed down obviously, but then copy dex the track onto there. As I know from my last layout, once you actually ballast it and everything, it puts scenery in, it looks much better and you can cover a multitude of sins. Hopefully you could see what I was doing there. What I kind of glued in the first bend. Now I don't know how best to do this. I'm gonna have to check some videos. What I'm doing is, if I'm doing a bend that is encompassing more than one piece of flexi track, should I join the two bits of flexi track first and then go through the bend? But I think that would mean maybe soldering the connectors. It's not, I mean, the fish plate, when you bend it, because the rails kind of change length, you saw me there, I was cutting through it. I've got a sort of Dremel type tool. I'm going to just wait for that copy dex to dry. It doesn't take too long, and you can move it quite a bit, so it's okay to work with. I'm finding it easier than pinning it down, and I've done my track layout in Rail Modeler Pro, I think it's called. So I kind of know roughly what I'm doing. As I kind of mentioned earlier, previously when I did it, I started off with a plan, and then that changed kind of as I was working. It was kind of a working model. I've got an idea of what I want and the features I want, but exactly where I'm going, I don't really know yet. I know kind of where the track's going anyway. I think that's enough for this vlog. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Hopefully a bit more progress.